Hello, members of the public. We are going to wait 5 more minutes to get quorum and for us to get settled, so we'll start in 5 minutes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West Contra Costa Unified School District CBOC, Citizens Bond Oversight Committee.
Public, we're going to call this meeting to order at 6:26 p.m. We'll start with our roll call. Item B on the agenda. Andrew Butt is present. Okay, Secretary Lucy Galicia here. Member Giamma absent. Member Brendan Kavanaugh Dalton here. Member Leanne Pernalla not here. Member Tashiana Johnson present. Member Lynn Johnson. Okay, not here. Member Bill Claus. Here. Excellent. And member Tanya Vargas. Here. Excellent. So we have, let's see, 4 of us. We need one more person for quorum. And we've been notified that Leanne Pernalla is on the way.
Correct.
So hopefully we'll meet quorum in a bit. Just wanted to do a quick announcement. Committee member Andrea Landine, or ex-committee member Andrea Landine, has completed her 2-year term. So she is no longer a member of the CBOC, and we want to thank her for her service. Andrea, if you see this recording, thank you for serving on the CBOC. Yes, let's give it. Excellent. All right. Moving on to the approval of the agenda. Can I get?
You can't do that at this time.
Oh, right. We don't have quorum. Okay. So we don't have quorum, so we'll come back to this. And we can't approve the meeting notes. So let's see. Can we move into public comment in the meantime?
I don't see any general public comment.
All right. So
do you have any comments?
Yeah. Are there members of the public who want to do a public comment on a non-agendized item? So things not on our agenda for tonight.
Seeing none.
And we'll move on to item G. Public.
Isn't Gia on it?
I have D, J, and N.
714.
Yeah.
That's her. That's yes.
Oh.
Oh no.
Maybe.
No, I wrote it down on top of my pad.
Okay. Yes, I can promote her. Unfortunately, to be able to attend remotely, you have to meet a couple qualifications, and one of them is that we have to have a quorum in person for her to be able to, so that you guys can make a motion to allow her to participate remotely due to a family emergency. So I can promote her, but we still won't be technically at a panel until that can happen.
I just wanted to recognize that she was in attendance, even though she's not attending as a member. She's here.
Definitely. Thank you for that. So Giamma, thank you for being here. And okay, so we didn't get any public comments for item F. I'll move along to item G, which is any public comments on agendized items for the night. And do we have any members of the public who want to do public comments on any of our items for tonight?
Dawn has submitted several. Would you like to wait until we get to the item?
The way I can address it, if somebody says something, I can address it.
Otherwise, I see no other hands at this time.
Moving on to item H. This, I believe, doesn't necessitate us voting, but we can discuss this. Just wanted to clarify our CBOC membership as of August of this year. We do have a vacancy for vice chair. So CBOC members, I encourage you all to think about it.
And I think we might have our quorum walking in, which would be great.
Yay!
Yay! Because it would be really, oh,
Oh, pull harder.
there you go. It would be great to, we have not technically, I guess promoted, Andrew, to a, chairperson. So for those that don't know, Brendan, resigned as chair. However, he said in his email that he was still interested in being a committee member. And so we haven't had a quorum to since then and that was part of the reason why the June meeting sort of fell apart, was because we didn't have an acting chair. And Andrew was on vacation and there was a lot of things going on. So that's what happened to the June meeting. So now it would be really awesome if the committee could take action to select a chair, or just promote Andrew to that position. Since he was vice chair, it would make sense. But then that also leaves open the vice chair position.
Great, let's do that. But before we do that, just want to recognize that Leanne Fernella is in the meeting at 6:12 p.m. Oh, sorry, 6:33. 6:33. 31. 33. Leanne is here. And we have quorum. So let's actually move along to approving the meeting minutes for today. Before we move into taking kind of official business and voting on item
H.
Item H, yes, thank you. Item H. Okay, so back to item C. Can we approve the agenda for tonight? Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda? Move to approve. Move to approve. Is there a second? Okay. Okay, great. Tashi has moved to approve and our agenda has been approved for tonight.
Are you approving by consent or are you vote? You're not gonna, you had a second, but we didn't have a vote or.
Oh, okay. I was going to approve by consent. Yeah.
Okay.
Great, excellent. Excellent. We do. All right. And then we have beautiful meeting minutes here. Actually, check, are they attached? Just want to make sure. Actually, we have a couple of minutes here, but not the most recent one. Is that correct?
I think we have the March one as well. So we have some, let's call them historic meeting minutes. And I believe we have March, and that's the last meeting minute that we have received at the district. April is still needed, and then May, June, and July, I believe we're all not sanctioned or not there wasn't a quorum for the meeting.
Okay. Okay, great. So, can I get a motion to approve May's if you've reviewed it, if you feel comfortable about
May?
approving
March.
March, sorry. Oh my gosh, I need more tea. March, committee meetings.
And you can have a motion just to approve all of them, or you can take them one by one. It's up to the committee.
I have a comment.
No, the only thing that I can see.
Oh, sorry. Are we still in discussion?
We are still.
Okay, before we get out of discussion, we'll do a public comment.
Go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, in approving the March, I was still on the March minutes. It just highlights the need to attach Dawn's public comments.
They were on there.
They're on here.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Let me find the page. Really? They were.
They were months ago. That was one part of my comment.
It's not page 11.
Yeah, I thought they were on there.
Page 11 is September.
Hmm.
Sorry, my blood sugar's real low, so it's warning me I'm gonna die.
Oh, no.
We may take care of that, Dawn.
I've been saying that for my Kaiser for a long time.
Let's see, we got this.
Oh, how interesting. I apologize. I saw them before, but I guess they didn't make the packet.
Okay, so maybe we can.
But we could approve, like you guys could make the motion to say that those would be added and we could still get them approved tonight.
Right, I'm sorry, interrupted, but you're asking to vote on something they're not seeing.
No,
They don't know what those comments are.
no, she told us that we can vote on the other months.
Yes,
With the exception of
we were still in March, I thought.
There's a couple of options on the table. So one is we can approve, if I heard correctly, we can approve March's item. But we would have to, but we can make the motion that we will attach the item, the notes later. Dawn's public comment later. And what I hear you saying, Dawn, is, but we haven't read it and we don't have it here
And the
in order
public
to
does not.
approve for it, and the public doesn't.
That's the
have
key.
access to it. So let's actually table this so we can review it at the next meeting. Okay? Great. So I will make a note of this for myself. All right, so moving on. I skipped over item E, which was comments by the acting chairperson. Just wanted to say that Andrew but couldn't be here today, but he will join us at the September meeting. And so I am the acting chair for today. And really pleased to be doing it alongside my co-CBOC members. Okay, let me move along. Those were my 2 minutes of fame. We did public comment. Let's jump into CBOC business now that we.
Sorry.
Do you want,
You still have the old minutes under H.
Oh,
do you want the other, to approve either the September, and we don't have an official motion to table.
okay.
So we have a public comment. So
Public comment in general or?
on meeting minutes.
Okay.
If you're talking about mine, it was on the March with the missing attachments.
Okay, but would you still like to make your public comment before they move into an action?
Your public comment.
I'd just be repeating myself. I don't believe that they should be even considered without the public being able to see the attachments. That was all.
Okay.
Okay, so then we would need a motion from the committee to either take action or to table.
The motion to table for the September meeting.
Table all the minutes attached?
Yeah, I'd like to table all the minutes simply because there are need to links, and public comments all throughout. And I feel that we could be talking about other things, other discussion items, and until Ellen has had a chance to thoroughly research the things that need to be attached. And then we can just come back to September and make sure that it's the first, one of the first things that we discuss.
Okay, beautiful.
Do I have a question?
Yes, do we have a second to table all minutes until September, when we have links and attachments,
I think the only one missing links though is the
the March?
March. So it's still up to the committee about what.
Just can I refresh on which ones are missing so that we can make sure that they're printed out for the next?
I have no problem with that.
Okay.
My
Thank
concern
you.
is, you're talking about, you're tabling minutes. They're almost a year old now. September, October, November, the joint meeting. And there's nothing missing from them.
As a member, is there something else that you would suggest that we do tonight?
Well, approve them.
For last year, September through October.
Well, the three sets of minutes that are included here, there's nothing missing on those.
How does the committee feel?
Sorry,
Anyone?
also, you say September, were you planning to hold a separate CBOC meeting? Because you got a joint meeting that, and you won't be able to approve the minutes.
Okay, until October.
You're talking 13 months after the meeting?
Unfortunately, so I believe you were the chair throughout that year as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think the.
I don't understand why you're, sorry, I don't understand why you want to table those. There's nothing missing.
Thank you, Don. I really appreciate you. We're gonna make sure that the committee members, move with a motion that feels comfortable for the committee members. And I know I've noted, that there's nothing missing with them, but it also gives, hopefully our CBOC the opportunity to review, even further. So the motion on the table was, Tosh, what was your motion?
to table, approving the minutes and the public comments until our October meeting.
Okay.
So that we can have an opportunity just to all be up to speed with Don's request and 13 months worth of minutes to look them over.
Great. Is there a second?
Okay.
Second,
Thank you
okay.
for that.
Okay, Tanya, seconds. And Phil. Yeah, I'll do the roll call on the motion. I guess, Bill, what would you,
Second.
second and third, okay.
We got third.
Yes.
Yeah.
You vote yes?
Yes.
Gamma, vote yes.
Andrew, I hope you're watching.
I think that was Gia joining.
Oh, hi, Gia.
Oh yeah, I joined since 6:50 started from beginning. Like I vote yes. Thank you.
I didn't really understand.
She voted
She
yes.
voted yes.
Oh,
okay.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay, but just so to know, Ellen said that we can't have CBOC members virtually.
So now you have a quorum, so it would be up to the committee to make a motion to allow her to participate remotely via an emergency. However, that can only happen twice in a year. Like that you could
Each committee member?
for each committee member. Is my understanding. No, I don't think it was a caregiving emergency.
You say that.
Yes, in her email.
Okay, well, since we have quorum, we feel good.
Would you like to make that motion? That she would be able to use the emergency act to be able to participate remotely.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do that. So.
You guys have to do that.
Yeah.
Hi, Alan.
Yeah.
Which team member? Which team member?
Yeah, Bill is making the motion. Is that your question?
Which team member? What's the name?
Bill Klaus.
Yes, Bill is making the
Oh.
motion, and then I'm gonna ask for a second. So
Or
do
if
we
you're
have-
asking about herself, like who we're giving the emergency for. I'm gonna second
Yeah,
the
but
motion for you to be able to participate remotely due to your emergency, Gia. Is that okay?
yeah, but I have a question for
Yeah.
Every year have a 2 meeting, and for certain like a family member of our committee member, once they have a long-term disease or long-term disability, what will be the policy?
I believe the statute, although I will double check with legal the next time we have a meeting with them. But I believe the statute only allows if the committee meets monthly, it allows 2 per year, no matter what the circumstances are. But I will confirm that with, like I said, with legal, and I'll be able to report back at the next meeting what the official finding is for that.
Yeah, thank you. And for the long-term thing, the long-term disease, and like if the like a hospital or some other healthcare professions to provide some certificate, please mention to us as well.
I will.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Gia. So we have the motion, I think Bill. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, motion. Do we all agree? Okay, it passes by consensus.
Okay.
Beautiful. Okay,
And then we were,
so now we're back to item H. Item H is just to clarify the CBOC membership.
I don't think we finished the vote on tabling the minutes. So we had Gia, we have Bill, but the rest of the members, I don't know if you voted for tabling the minutes, just to finish the vote.
Table it, right? But I will vote to abstain from approving the minutes because I wasn't here. I wasn't a member during those times. But for tabling, that's okay too.
Yeah.
You can also vote to, even though you weren't present, you don't have to abstain. It's up to you, but it's not a requirement.
Okay.
We've had legal answer that question before, so I'm pretty confident in saying that one.
Theoretically, you can be watching video.
Okay.
Or reading the notes.
So we still have 2 more.
Voting to approve to table.
Okay.
And also approve.
Okay,
Table the minutes.
second.
I approve to table the minutes.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, great. So I think we're good with that. I'm moving on to item H. The item is clarify CBOC membership as in August 2026. Ellen gave a really great summary, that Brandon has decided to step down, but is still a committee member. And so tonight our task is to vote Andrew as our chairperson for this committee. And just to move us along, is there someone, actually, we need discussion, right? We need discussion. Is there any?
And I think this is just an interim placement.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna move to pass that motion for Andrew Butt to be our chair.
Okay,
Do I have a second?
I second that.
okay, great.
We shouldn't complete the vote without public comment.
For Anya, all right, and can we introduce public comments? Is there any member of the public that would like to public comment?
Mr. Gosney?
There's nothing on the agenda that lets the public know that there's going to be an election. There's nothing on there to let you guys know it's gonna be an election. Clarify is kind of ambiguous.
I don't think we really had an election.
Well, you're voting to make him Andrew the no longer interim chair, but the chair. It is an election.
Believe the motion was for interim, right?
Yes. And if, Andrew got voted to chair, which he did previously accept, and Brandon Hauna's, he went away, because he had a family emergency that he had to tend to. So he has been acting as chair for the past 2 meetings. He was not able to be here tonight. And of course, it'll be finalized when he returns. But we did vote on it, so we don't have to do that for next week.
Thank you, Don. Any other public comments?
See none at this time.
No. That's it. And we have elected Andrew Butt as our interim chair. Beautiful. And then, just as I was saying, we do have a vacancy for vice chair. So if anyone's interested, please think about it, fellow committee members. Bill, Leanne, anyone here? So definitely, and then that'll give me an opportunity to actually take notes. So I really appreciate that. So think about it, and we can discuss it at our next CBOC meeting in October. Great. So moving along, item I. Bond program progress and status report by Ellen Mejia.
All right, let me just pull this over here and get us into slideshow mode. We do have another video, so we're going off of the Google Slides instead of the PDF version. So my name's Ellen Mejia Hooper. I'm the Director of Facilities Planning and Construction for the district, and we made it to August. So here is the project status update. All right, Shannon Cafeteria Rebuild Project. I'm excited to say that this is the last time I'm going to be reporting out on Shannon. Yes, so just to do the flashback of where we've been, Shannon originally had a portable for their multi-purpose room that had no real kitchen. The servery, as you can see in the picture on the left, was out in the middle of the dining space. They did have a little bit of a stage that was most often used as storage. It was very small and pretty old, portable. And so we are excited that we have moved on from there and we have a new building. So the now the dining area is separated from the servery by a wall. So you can see those two pictures displayed here. We also have a stage. There's many more windows, so it's a lot less dim. And we have a full kitchen. And so this is a major change from where they've been to where they are now. So we're excited to close out this project. Part of getting this project closed out was upgrading the electrical service for the entire campus. So we've put in a new MSB. And so that is the major announcements for Shannon.
Thank you.
So.
Now if you use the photos from Lake.
No, Lake had a very, yeah. We do have similar design. This one's green instead of blue, which matches their school colors. So, you know, we've made a few changes.
Is there any questions from the committee members on Lake?
Shannon.
Shannon. Difference between the green and the blue. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. Oh, I can, all right.
It's up to you.
Just a point of information. What we're seeing on the screen here is not what we're seeing on the computers on Zoom. It's
Oh,
right there in the
no.
Dark.
Okay, let me try.
It was like in the shadow.
Oh, but-
I don't get it. And it's not every picture, but most of
Let me reshare.
No. What?
Right now? on the Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll
Which is
go.
strange, 'cause that's on the Zoom too.
Did it? Well, how weird.
I don't expect you to do anything. I'm just letting you know.
Okay. Well,
Bad mouthing my back.
From 1992, Don.
Oh,
all right, moving on. Shannon. Shannon. Okay, so that was Shannon. Yay for Shannon. We've completed that project. We're very excited to be able to open that for the new school year, including the kitchen. They've been using the dining facility for the last couple months, but this is the first time the kitchen has been operational. So that was the end of that project. Stige. So Stige Elementary School, we do have another community meeting coming up for August 25th. So please mark your calendars. That was also put in the construction newsletter. So we're giving our quarterly update a little late. We had a problem with the venue over summer. So we're delayed. We were supposed to have it in July. But the community center was busy hosting summer camps. So we are happy to be able to move forward with a community meeting on Stige.
That's a Tuesday.
That is a Tuesday, yes. Booker T. Anderson Community Center at 6:30, like we have been doing. So same location, same time. The official date is August 25th. So moving forward from there, we did have a big announcement. We've been waiting and we finally got it. So phase 2 has been officially approved by DSA, which is the Division of State Architect. And so that is fantastic, which means that we are officially out to bid for this scope of work. Bids are due September 2nd. So we're excited to have that process underway. We are back to grading again. So there was a pause on the construction while we worked through some agency approvals. We have previously last month, we showed the storage tanks pits that were left after we did the removal. Since then, we have come back and like I said, we had to go through a few agencies to get approval to continue work, but we are there now and we are moving forward. The pits have been refilled and the mass grading is going on the campus. And that was the end of Stige.
What questions? Because I know last time we discussed asbestos being in that hole. How was that mitigated?
So we had some naturally occurring asbestos. So for those that don't know, asbestos is our state rock. So it very much is a part of our environment. This was quite a ways below our ground level. So we wouldn't have run into it without needing to do additional soil removal associated with the storage tanks. Asbestos on its own, as long as it's not airborne, is not a it's not a particular problem. So we did have to get approval through the air board, and we have a dust mitigation plan in place for the construction. And we did have to do confirmation on any of the soil we were off-hauling. However, the remainder of the soil is well below our finished grade. So there's a significant, and there's really not, as far as we know, that much left. It was brought into the site, so although it was a natural occurring, it wasn't part of a consumer product that was placed. it was probably fill material and may have just been associated with around the tanks because of its fireproofing capabilities. Although we will never know exactly why it ended up there, but it did seem to be associated with the area where the tanks were, and so that's one possible explanation of how it ended up there. But like I said, we'll never really know how it was brought in. But as long as it's below grade and encapsulated, it's really not a harm to. It's inert, so it doesn't really affect the school, especially because it's so far below where our finished grades are.
Other questions, and then we can take comments from the public comments.
Okay, just to clarify, you said tanks, are there fuel tanks?
They have been removed.
Been removed, okay.
Yes, and the soil around them has also been removed. Yes, so
Two tanks.
there were 2 tanks, and that's why the hole's significantly bigger. We had to remove all of the soil that was showed any contamination from the tanks. So we ended up continuing to dig outward from them until we came to clean soil, and then or acceptable soil, and the other soil has now been removed from the site.
Any other comments from our members? Questions from the public? All right.
Next school, okay. Kennedy. So Kennedy, we have, as previously talked about, we've completed phase 1.1, which was the demolition portion. We are also now complete with phase 1.2, which was the creating the building plans and underground utilities for our first 2 new construction buildings. And now we are into phase 1.3, which is the new classroom building and new dining / performing arts building and the K-Quad. Design is still underway for phase 2 and 3, which is primarily modernization and site work. Oh, I don't know what happened there. But as we go through, this is going to be a very long process for building A and building B. Building A is that classroom building. Building B is the performing arts and dining facility. So we wanted to kind of give you some standard milestones that happen throughout a building project so we can track how we're moving through. So you'll see the slide every time as we move forward. Right now we're on foundations. And there you go. There's the, we're digging out the foundations. So you can see that is building, this is the first half of building A, which is the main classroom portion of it. This portion of building A wraps around towards the solar panels and parking lot that you see there. This is on the ground floor, mostly the administration space. On the second floor, there's more classrooms. And we have building B, which is a little further along. So you can see that we have rebar within the foundation excavation. So that is what has been going on in Kennedy. We'll continue to develop the foundations. We're anticipating pouring the concrete for these closer towards September. We did have a pause for those that, and I know we have a discussion item a little later, but we did have the toxic plume that was in the general vicinity coming from the overall neighborhood. There's been many community meetings and talks with doctors and all sorts of great information that's been released. So if you want to know more information about that particular issue, there's many resources out there to get additional information about that. It was not directly related to the construction project. However, we did pause construction out of an abundance of safety. We also needed it to not be occurring while we did the air sampling. just to be clear that we didn't have any construction dust and things, because it's a very sensitive test. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to get the best results possible. So we paused construction for a little bit, but construction's back on board. So that is Kennedy.
We do just, to highlight it, we do have item N, which, states discussion on Kennedy High School fiscal impact on bond dollars. So we do
Just
have
have one
that
question.
topic. Yep.
On page 1, how many square feet is that?
Oh, I do not know. Ground floor is about 60,000, but I don't know altogether off the top of my head. Sorry. I can report back next week or next month.
By reports that came out by both the districts and the city, they said that there were traces in a couple of areas, but not common enough or toxic enough to be of concern. So if you don't mind, could you please clarify that just so that we know exactly what that means?
So this particular chemical, which is referred to as PCE, it can travel through the groundwater. And then once it goes through the groundwater, it can vaporize into the spaces in the soil. And their DTSC had a great diagram of how that looks, right? But basically, soil particles are not just jammed together. There's little air pockets between soil particles, and this chemical can vaporize and be part of the air that's between the soil. That does not mean it's actually the soil itself, but it can be in the holes between the dirt particles. So we did some initial testing after the DTSC, which is the Department of Toxic Substance Control. After they contacted us and said, hey, we had some results near your site, we did some sampling, and we did have some elevated levels in the area of Kennedy around the construction zone. The only reason we did it in the construction zone was not because it was the construction zone. It was because that was what was closest to where the other readings in the neighborhood were. So they reported out a block away. It was to the northeast of the campus. So we tested the north and east side of the campus, so that we had the areas closest to where the city's information was. And so there were elevated levels below ground. Now, the thing about this chemical is that it's not necessarily about it being out in the atmosphere. It's that when it comes into a building, it can concentrate in the building because it's an enclosed space, right? So if you have an enclosed space, it can build up over time. And that's when you start getting concerned about it being a safety hazard. So what we did after we had the initial underground readings was we took below slab and indoor and outdoor readings to find out if there was a difference between those. And for the most part, we didn't see, and DTSC stated this. And so, like I said, you can go to various websites to see their statements. But they stated that there was no evidence of vapor intrusion. And so that vapor intrusion is really what they mean when they say that those soil particle vapors, right, made it up through our foundation and into our building to concentrate. They said that there was no evidence of that. And so that is why Kennedy is opening tomorrow. However, we did have some readings of PCE in 2 of our buildings. Now, it doesn't seem that it has come from below grade because we did the under slab testing as well. And we just don't see the correlation, or they don't see the correlation between the below grade and the stuff inside. But in the 600 building, which is our CTE building, as well as in the kitchen, there were levels that were above the residential screening level. And that is a very conservative base level. It's below OSHA. It's a very conservative safety measure. So anyways, since that was the case, and out of an abundance of caution, we are not using the cafeteria kitchen area of the 800 building or the 600 building until we identify the source of the PCE, which is most likely a consumer good. PCE is known for its ability to be a degreaser, and metal shops and kitchens are two places where degreasers are very handy. And so we are doing an additional investigations, and we'll do additional testing before we open those two buildings. We're currently accommodating those students in the portables until we are able to ensure that we have those buildings ready for use.
Summary.
Well, I listened to a whole lot of people that have many more years of experience with this for a whole collection of meetings. So I'm just reporting out kind of what they have told us. So I do encourage you, if you want like the real guts of it, please look at some of the videos where the scientists and health officials actually did the official reporting.
And we have questions from our members. Tashi?
Hello, I'm so sorry.
No, ask away. Ask
I'm here.
Like, our duty is to really make sure that there's transparency to the public, and actually the DTSC website that they instructed everyone to go to the Enviro store, it's actually very difficult to maneuver unless you're a scientist or a doctor or somebody like you, an engineer, so we just don't know how to get through that website. But when we say that we're going to not utilize the kitchen and the other space that it was found, what is the district going to do to offset the cost for like food, the lunch program, or those spaces while school is in session for the first week?
So, I mean, that's an operational question. I don't know how much, food service is going to be offered by our mobile food kitchen. I don't know how much difference that is. Those operational questions will not come out of bond funding. And so that much I do know. But as far as what the difference is between operating our mobile kitchen versus our standard kitchen, I don't have that information. And we had the portables on site. They were being used for some auxiliary purposes, but we really didn't have to displace a lot of to any particular program to be able to accommodate the classrooms that are in the 600 building. There's really just three of them. So we were able to find 3 portables on campus that could be used for those purposes. And so there was some moving cost associated with moving some of the furniture around. One of the portables was used for storage, so we had to kind of reshuffle some things. So that we did have movers on site. I am not 100% sure where that what account that funding is coming from, but for sure the operational components would not come from bond funds.
Mobile kitchen, and there's a plan to make sure that students still have food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their school day. Did I see anyone else's hand up here? Oh, no. Can we take members from the public?
Both of us?
Sorry, just a little background. The courts have recognized me as an expert witness on both asbestos and on industrial safety. And I spent 13 years advising the Navy on the environmental restoration of Fort Lauderdale fuel depot, which wasn't the exact same chemical, but it was the same scenario. Subterranean captures of toxic items on there. And I just want to make sure everybody is aware that even though we know that this PTE, for instance, is bad now, for a very long time, it was not recognized as being bad, just like asbestos was not. And up until around 1970, when we changed oil in our car, we would dump it into the gutter. If we were stupid, we didn't know any better. In the refineries, we would open up flanges and let bad stuff go into the ground because we didn't know any better. We know better now, but it doesn't mean anybody did anything wrong with this, using the degreaser, for instance, in there. It's just, for half a century, we didn't know any better up there. But now we do, so now we got to figure out exactly what was the source of the problem, where is it at, and how do we remediate it? And even with the plume, they can't tell us where the plume is. It's so huge. They're talking about all the way in Miraflores, which is half a mile away. And the dry cleaners on Cutting was another quarter to half a mile to the west. But how much of the plume actually is underneath Kennedy High School? Nobody can say for sure. They know it's underneath Cutting. It's strange. We want to shut down Kennedy High School, but the park across the street from the school, city did nothing to try to shut it down. It's still allowing kids to play around there. I mean, I can't believe that the fumes are coming up on Kennedy, but they're not coming up at the park either. Anyway, it's just there's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, thank you for that, Don. In my understanding, yeah, because it's groundwater, there is Baxter Creek that kind of carries water underground all throughout the city. And so that is concerning, but also this brings me to my question, and I don't know if you can answer this, Ellen, but with that new information, are there going to be new upgrades or different types of implemented procedures to keep the school ventilated, or somehow to mitigate that vapor coming up, or will it kind of stay as is?
So we are changing the design of the two new buildings. And while DTSC wasn't this problem wasn't triggered by the construction and really wasn't related to the construction, it was an opportunity in the construction schedule. So one of the reasons DTSC reached out when they did is they wanted to be able to inform the district before we really started our slab, to allow us the opportunity to implement what's called a VIM system. And so the district has moved forward with doing a design for that. And that really is an upgraded vapor barrier. Our original design for the buildings had a vapor barrier for a variety of reasons that are helpful in general. But this is a more robust version of what we previously had. It also changes our base rock to allow more air movement in the base rock below our building. And it involves adding some perforated pipes that have ventilation up to allow, if any vapors get trapped underneath the building, to exit to the exterior and above the roof line. So we are moving forward with that. And that was part of what I was going to report out later, but here we are. And so that does have a financial impact to the bond project. And so that is the biggest change and impact to the bond dollars as far as this overall response is. While it's not involved with the bond dollars, there are other mitigation factors that we're doing within the campus. We've installed carbon activated filters in many of the classrooms, and that's more of a preventative measure. It's not required. The test results didn't necessarily promote the need for it, but it was a precautionary process because, like you said, we're we have a moment in time snapshot, and right now it looks great. Also, the portables are on a ventilated foundation basically already, right? They sit above asphalt and have a ventilated crawl space. So it's a different kind of construction that does not lend itself to vapor intrusion as easily as other types of construction do. So there's several layers of mitigation that were just kind of already in place by the nature of the buildings.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And then we'll hear later for item N, just kind of the impacts and implications with those bond dollars so that we all know. Excellent. Other questions before I move along? Okay, great. Let's move on to Richmond High, I believe is our.
Yep. So Richmond High School is moving along last month, and you kind of missed the celebration slides last month. But we did have celebration slides on both Kennedy and Richmond, because in both of them we moved from the underground work to the building work. And even though we're still technically in the dirt right now, we're making progress towards going vertical. So we will get there. And so phase 1.2 has officially gone under construction. We've been busy creating the foundations and piers. Last month there was the video of the piers being drilled. And so now we are doing the pier caps and the grade beams. The modernization project is getting submitted to DSA this month, and phase 3 is at that same timeline, which is the modernization as well as the new administration building. Page down. Hello, computer. Thank you. Okay, so like the other one, we wanted to give you the same milestones so you can kind of track both projects and see how we're coming along. So we are at foundation work here as well. It's a little further along than Kennedy, but it's we're still in foundation. Okay. So here you go. This is a little bit more of a aerial of the grade beams and pier cap. First there was the rebar, and then there were concrete pours. We've poured a significant amount of concrete. The last pour day we had was almost 1,000 cubic yards. And that was the second one. So we've been bringing in a lot of concrete, and this is kind of the after. So before you have the rebar, then you pour the concrete. Right now we're kind of in the waiting period. So once you pour concrete, you have to let it cure to a certain amount. We have tests that are done. So they take cylinders of concrete when we're pouring it. They take those to the lab and they do break tests on those. And so we have normally a 3-day break, a 7-day break, a 28-day break. And that tells us the strength of the concrete to ensure that it was to the proper strength before we start erecting a building. And so right now we're a little bit in the waiting game of the concrete doing its thing. But soon we will be getting to putting some steel up, which will be very exciting. I'm excited for it. I don't know about guys, but here's a little video of our concrete pour. So, and see, we have 2 concrete trucks here. And as we zoom out, you'll see more of the footprint of this building on the campus. So this building over here is the music and gym. And there's a 2-story classroom, the theater, and the main building. So this was our second pour. So you can see this was our first pour up here, which was the northern section along 23rd. The second pour did all of the rest of the these foundations. So we're excited for this to move forward. Yeah. So that was Richmond.
Questions, part members, comments in general?
No.
Okay. Public comment, any members of the public?
I see no public comment.
Great. One other question, Ellen, as you were, just kind of presenting on Richmond,
Yep.
having that aerial view, just kind of showing the city.
Mhm.
Do you know, if since we were just talking about, the vapor intrusion, et cetera, do you know if, some of these vapor barriers will also be installed into Stige, or if it will be monitored at Stige as well?
So, as part of the removal of the underground tanks, one of the things that we're required to do by the Water Board, which is one other agency that we work with and are governed by, they are requiring us to do vapor testing. Now, it's not technically related to PCE per se, but PCE is part of a larger family of chemicals, which are VOCs, volatile organic compounds. And so when you do testing for any of those type of chemicals, you get a full panel. And so we will get a panel of VOCs from the Stage site here in a couple weeks. And that will give us some insight of, what's going on that campus as well. It's not directly related to that issue. But it is a requirement we're going to do anyway, so we might as well use the data for all it's worth. And so we'll see what comes out of it. At this point in time, the testing that DTSC has done in conjunction with the city has not spread to that extent of the community. So they don't know. You go through a particular procedure when you find these kind of things, and it's called, they've said it many times on the video, it's called stepping out. So, and it's the same thing we did with the fuel tanks, is as long as you find contamination, then you continue to step out to the next radius until you stop finding it. These tests are not inexpensive. And so you go through this process. It's also, I believe, more of a scientific way of being able to discover an extent of anything. So they haven't come anywhere close to Stage yet, and so we don't have any information about that area.
Hopefully the test comes back with alarming information.
Right. I mean, the good news is one of the best mitigation strategies is putting in these systems under your foundation, and the time to do it is when you're actually building. So while it's not something we're hoping for, obviously, it is a part of the reality of where we are, and the district will do what's necessary, depending on how that testing comes back.
That you brought up Stage and those tanks. The Stage budget, bare bones to begin with, there is no more money. So when you find something like 2 underground storage tanks that you didn't expect, that costs money to remove them. That's a pretty big sized hole you get up there. They're not cheap. You can't take that contaminated soil to a regular landfill site. You've got to take it down to Kettleman City. It costs a fortune for that. How did this all affect the limited amount of funds that the district has for Stage? We're going to have to cut back. Only one coat of paint instead of 2.
I mean, we don't have a final cost just yet of all of the parts of it. The team is gathering that together. So we will know that sooner rather than later. You're right, Dawn. Out of all 3 projects, Stage is the leanest of the projects as far as the ability for a district to cover contingency within the project budget. We are going to have a conversation about that. We do have bids coming in. So until you bid the project, you're speculating of what the costs will be. Now, we have a lot of experts that try to speculate as close as possible, and they have a lot of industry data to be able to do that, much more so than just your run-of-the-mill person trying to figure out how much construction cost is. But there is a level of unknown until you bid a project to know where you're going to stand. And so since we are so close to having our phase 2 bids come in, and we're so close to having the final numbers of what that particular activity is going to cost, we are going to have to bring those forward and come up with a strategy once the two come together, which is happening in the very near future. So, I mean, September is going to be the time period that both those things are going to come in. And from there, the board's going to have to make some decisions about how to move forward. Right now, the market for, I just came out of a meeting today with the construction crew over at Stige, and they were talking about the construction market at the moment. There's a lot of competition, and that's good for the district. So could we be lucky and hit the market just at the right time and it come in less expensive than what our estimates are? It could, or it could not. And we still are, obviously, gas prices are still problematic. So that tips the scales the other way, right? And so it's difficult to know. And since we are, like I said, so close to the time where we will have hard numbers, it's a good time to evaluate where we're going with that budget.
When you do get those numbers about this little blip, you're going to be sharing those numbers with us?
Yeah, it's going to come as a change order to the board. So it will be part of, it's public knowledge, but if you guys want a particular presentation on the change order, it can be brought forward. Stige is a unique project because the bond funding in it is actually kind of minimal. Most of it is coming from other facilities sources, such as the reimbursement from the state on our previous projects. So state matching funds on projects. So it's kind of a unique project as far as how the budget itself is coming together. So we will, but of course, it, like I said, it's public knowledge. It will be part of a change order that goes to the board, and I'd be happy to report out to this committee if they'd like more information on it.
So, and it sounds like that might happen in October after the results are in.
I would think that's probably when we'll get a finalized change order ready for the board. So yeah, probably that would. And since the September meeting is a joint session, it's not one that we would necessarily want that discussion. A lot of times you guys want to talk about other things. I'm normally the least amount of the presenters during the board joint meetings. We do other stuff during those meetings, but the Mr. Butt and the board chair will have to get together to figure out the agenda for the joint meeting.
Beautiful. Thanks for your comments, Dawn. And I'm going to move us along.
Mhm.
There's no other comments on this from our members. Great, we feel good. Let's move on to our CBOC business and some discussion items. We'll start off with item J, the facility master plan community outreach discussion. And I can give us a quick update on that. It feels so long ago that this happened. July, August, I'm forgetting the exact date. But we partnered with Ellen and the district to really look at the facility master's plan with community members. We titled it Facilities and Fries because we really wanted people to come and enjoy good food, but also good information. some of the highlights of this meeting that community members mentioned and just themes. Some that were brought up were expanding cafeterias and serving space, designing more efficient meal distribution systems, incorporating walk-up lunch windows or multiple serving spots. Some families talked about in the design of schools, sometimes kids don't get their lunch or there isn't enough time for kids to get their meals. And so really thinking about that design in the future and long term around the cafeterias. In terms of campus safety and communications, parents mentioned modernizing the school-wide communication system, whether that's a PA system or security cameras, and ensuring that all campuses have reliable safety communication technology as part of the long-term plan. Also talked about capacity and repair, so increasing staff capacity and time allocation for maintenance workers, creating more transparent and routine repair assessment schedules. Some parents mentioned some spaces don't look clean, or we've called the maintenance person, but thing is still broken. And so providing more transparent routine assessments. The other large concern was rodent infestation and sanitation concerns. And one of the biggest ones, heating, cooling, and ventilation. Some families talked about the CO2 monitoring systems in classrooms or lack of, and expanding access to air conditioning and cooling in classrooms, especially during the summer months, as well as drinking fountains and making sure that they are accessible to both students, teachers, and families in the district. One that I really liked was parents and families were thinking about outdoor space and shade. Some schools, I think they purchased some umbrellas and they put them out in the recreation areas, but really thinking long term as we continue to invest in our schools. Families really brought up the idea of having built-in shade, especially during hot summers and as our climate gets hotter and hotter year after year. So those were some of the top themes. I can go on and on forever. There were too many pages of information. Ellen or Tashi, would you like to add anything else that were just high points, highlights of this stakeholder meeting with families around the long-term facilities plan?
I think that you summarized it perfectly. Those were a lot of the key points.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, you probably grabbed everyone that I heard for the most part. It was a really awesome event. You just did a great job. It was really nice to have our facilities there so that we can ask questions and so that the public community could give their feedback, so those are my thoughts.
Great. Ellen, anything else you want to add?
No, we really appreciate the partnership, and because community is, well, we really want to have them participate. It's sometimes difficult to find ways to connect, and so it was nice to have an opportunity to do some deeper discussion, which we don't always get the chance to do, and so we really appreciate the fierce advocates coming through and helping us find some communities to have, because it felt much more like a focus group meeting than a community forum, which is nice because you get to have real conversation versus just kind of like brushing the highlights.
Yeah. Yes, and before I forget to mention, yes, we partnered. I am employed by Fierce Advocates, and so we reached out to Ellen and said, hey, we have a great group of families that are very invested in our educational system. And so I'm glad that this partnership happened. Questions or comments from our members here? Okay, I'll go to Don.
Great report. Learned a lot from it. I worked on the first drafting of the facilities master plan about 2015-16. Ellen was the key part of it at the time. I worked on the upgrade, updating it, I should say, because it was only supposed to last 5 years and then be updated. That got sidelined by a lot of things at the time. And I would have loved to have been part of this one, but one of the problems the district tends to fall into is they think that the whole universe is just parents of existing students. You don't put the word out to the community as a whole, because there's a lot more people involved in the community. You've only got 568,000 people in West Contra Costa County. It's not just 50 or 20,000 sets of parents. Had I known, I would have come in there and participated, because one of the things you mentioned down there was security cameras. We all think security cameras are solutions to a lot of our problems, and they're great. Now, how many of you remember the 2009 gang rape at Richmond High School? That made worldwide news. It was a bad thing all the way around. And so as a result of that, we installed hundreds and hundreds of security cameras all over the district. Except we didn't pay anybody to watch them. They're useless if nobody's watching them. And of course, it's real time. Coming back afterwards is great when you probably might prosecute somebody in court. So we got this video on it. Yeah, but it doesn't do any good if you're not watching as the problem is happening real time. And so we certainly don't want to spend millions of dollars, which we did back in 2009, to install security cameras. By the way, they were really bad security cameras back then. It was like Radio Shack specials. But it doesn't do any good to spend that kind of money if you're not having somebody to watch them. And nobody has that kind of money. Each school has to have somebody watching them. Because it's better just to make sure we do what we can to try to prevent the bad things from happening rather than having the videos to watch them. Yeah, I appreciate the report.
Thank you, Don. Definitely. Yeah, and this is, I believe I shared a summary. If anyone's interested in the summary, feel free to reach out to me. My email is on the agenda. It says cboc@gmail.com, and I can email it to anyone who's interested. It was also emailed to the board. And it's a wish list, right? Because at the end of the day, it's really to understand, okay, and for Ellen's team to really understand, okay, what can we actually do if this like feasibly do with the budget, and complement it with the concerns of families and community members as well. So thank you, Don. And that is it for my report. I am going to move on to item K, site visit committee activity report out and requests. I don't think we've had a coordinated site visit, but I would love for us to go to Shannon and tour their cafeteria potentially. Or once Richmond High has some rebar going up, maybe we can go there. And at the last site visit we did was at Kennedy, actually, and it was really great. So we'd love to see Bill or Tanya or Leanne at some of those. It was just really great as a committee member to go and see the space. Now I understand why Don gets so excited about site visits.
And you got a great picture from it too.
And we got a great picture, great photo.
Courtesy of really nice.
Courtesy of Don, yes. But it was also a great learning opportunity, and to hear from the actual crew on site, and of course from Ellen's insights as well. So maybe we can coordinate that at a later date. We'll put a pin on that, but just wanted to share that. Are there any other places or things that you all would like to see, Tashi?
Just to clarify, are we still going based on the list that Andrew sent, that Brendan sent us? Are there
my brain had forgotten there was a list, so we can look at that.
We were, last time we discussed site visits, we were kind of just keeping an eye on Steve to see when Steve would be ready for a visit. Are we getting closer?
We are getting closer. I mean, right now we're doing mass grading, so it's just going to show you what kind of elevation the site will be at. So it's not super exciting at the moment. We will get to building pads by the end of this month, early September. So that's kind of the stage where you went and saw Kennedy. Which, I mean, it's a thing. I don't know if it's the most exciting thing, but you can do it. I mean, it is the first opportunity that you can actually see how kind of the mass of the buildings. But you got to have a lot of imagination to realize what they look like when they start going vertical. Richmond, like I said, is the first one that's going to go vertical. I would love to take you over to Shannon just to see the finished product. So there's a couple different options there. And so it's up to the committee to decide. I was just trying to flip through my calendar to see when the next, I thought I'd put the site visits.
I'm actually gonna suggest, maybe since, next month we're having our joint board meeting. That's not a month that we're gonna be doing anything like that, but maybe we can schedule Shannon and then possibly in the year with Steve as a nice Christmas present to the community.
Like a holiday site visit?
Yeah, I mean, we also discussed just giving time to organize that community to come along.
Mhm.
Or at least, at least a half dozen of them. And you said that you needed time or advance notice, so that'll give us time to kind of.
So it does look like you had one penciled in for September 28th. And there was another one that was on October 21st. So I don't know if you guys want to try to keep either one of those dates, but those are the two that I can see off the top of my calendar.
You can always partying it out, after it gets early. You start getting it early.
Right. If we were going to do a holiday one, we probably would need to think about it on a weekend. Because after construction time, it's pretty dark.
Tasha, you had a suggestion.
Yeah. Could we, for October, after October 21st, could we just not schedule one for November and then for December, that'll be our finale, our speed season?
We can continue to coordinate this. This is a discussion item, so we can't necessarily take action tonight, but maybe if you guys want to bring back a formal schedule to the next meeting, that would be a great way for us to really plan them and then be able to advertise them and do all of the other things. Yeah.
I think Brandon is chair of that subcommittee, the site visit, so we can reach out to Brendan and see if we're still on for the 28th to 21st, and then bring him into the loop of your idea. Because I love that idea.
Yeah, and we discussed it. I also remember discussing with Brendan for this, for us to host one of our CBOC meetings at the site. So again, I think we should probably just revisit those notes when we revisit those next.
Is there a time that site visits usually occur?
Yeah, they're usually between 9 and 5 hours, but I think we've thought about planning some after, so around the evening time, 6 p.m. They range really, I think, depending on our schedule, the schedule of the school site. But Ellen, you might have more.
Yeah, when we're on an active campus, we try to avoid being there during the school day. And also when we're in heavy construction, we normally avoid doing the site visits while the contractor's working, just so that we can ensure a safe site visit, especially as we start getting to larger numbers. So we've been typically doing them closer to 3 or 4 in the afternoon. One of the thought processes that the committee previously was thinking about when they were scheduling out site visits was towards the darker part of the year, either visiting sites that are nearer completion so that you can have the lights on, or doing a Saturday during the day instead of trying to do an afternoon, because it, like I said, it does start getting darker earlier, and that makes that a little bit more complicated, especially when most of these sites don't have artificial lights yet.
You lose a minute of sunlight every day until December 21st.
Yeah.
Fun
And I think
fact.
Brendan also had the idea of dovetailing parent meetings with CBOC site visits, so we could do a meet and greet or talk more about the CBOC. So I think there's an opportunity to think through how we do these. So there isn't a time set in stone.
And just approximately how, I want to make sure I can just block off my calendar dates for those. So
Maybe like I'd say 2 hours would be smart. We also, it's relationship building and walking around and asking questions. Yeah. We will plan those with Brandon and Tashi, bring in your idea about the holidays at Steve. I'm getting excited. Who's gonna dress up as Santa? I'll be Adele. Excellent. So I know we're almost at time, so I want to move us along. Tashiana Johnson, item L. Can you give us a report out on the website committee or any other requests?
I actually haven't done too much of anything else with our website or the template. It was both Brandon and I kind of power mapping it and meeting and building it out. I was taking the things that they were doing, building it out. I asked Don if he could do some headshots for us, and I haven't received a response. We asked the district if they could do some professional shots via Don for us. We haven't really received a solid response. We were serious about that. The headshots for our committee pictures.
Oh, right.
Can all be cohesive.
We did talk. I did talk to communications about that because they do headshots of our board members, and so there was a they did say that was possible, but we just didn't get to the next step of like an official date. So maybe that's something that if the committee has suggested times that you'd like that to happen, we can move forward with that kind of arrangement.
Yeah. Because this is going to be a shorter length of a report, so about 10 to 12 pages, and so the first 2 pages will be, about the bond program, who we are, things of that sort. It would be nice if we could just have those photos, and we can schedule a shoot for everybody to come at the same time, possibly during one of our CBOC meetings. Just to keep it very simple. And then just upload them into there. I already have the color schematics. I already have the appendix. I have the whole beginning, the introduction. Just the context is needed.
Great. Okay, so we'll work with Andrew and Ellen in the district to coordinate that potential. It could be at our joint, like maybe 20 minutes before our joint CBOC meeting, or it could be
very simple
meeting.
Just a background, and then just notify everybody to come dressed, at least your face. Okay, and don't wear a tube top because then you look naked. So, things like that. But
tips for tips.
What a Facebook link called that, tips from Tashi.
There you go.
This time the CBOC took it, shots did it right there.
Well, that's fine.
We had 21 people on the committee that took less attendance.
I mean, you're gonna do them for us?
What?
I mean, you're gonna do them for us?
I want to do it. We're happy as long as the district doesn't tell me stay hell away from this CBOC.
Great. Well, we definitely don't want you to stay away, but,
love your
so
pictures.
we will coordinate that and we'll talk to Andrew so that he can send out that coordinated email for all of us. Moving on to item M, which is the annual report, committee report out and request. And you were kind of talking about this, Tashi, but our last meeting was in February around this, and so I will work with the subcommittee members to do a part 2. We have a template and an outline thanks to Tashi, and we'll have photos thanks to Dawn/district. You'll see, and so we can try to put a report together, which complements some of the district reports that we've had in the past. So that's my update there. And I'm gonna, questions? Oh, Tashi?
Is, at the upcoming joint board meeting,
Mhm.
is that when they're gonna wanna see, a draft of the report? Should we tentatively have something prepared or?
I know the board's been anxious about getting an annual report, or at least some of the trustees have made that comment previously. So I think it'd be wonderful. In general, the annual report is the sole responsibility of the CBOC. Like that is the key mission. And so the district too would be anxious to be more up to date on our annual reports, because it's, it is important, and like I said, the mission of the CBOC. So I think they'd be thrilled if you had some, but I'm speaking for a board that I am not a part of. So take that as a grain of salt.
Another clarifying question.
Mhm.
Also, since unfortunately, Lorraine, we won't be getting her report, that we were still trying to get that one, but then Leslie also told us to, just don't worry about those years and to just start when we got onto the CBOC.
Mhm.
Is that the recommendation, just to start from 2025 or 2025, 2026?
I mean, I think at this point, having any annual reports over the last 5 years would be awesome. So I'm not going to turn any away.
Giving 25, 26 would be doable for all of us.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
to, and we can.
And that is definitely our goal, to get a 2025, 2026 report, an annual report. And then we will share our draft with the rest of our committee members, Bill, Tanya, Leanne, so if you can look at it and just kind of review it and revise it as well, once we have that. And noted on kind of like a soft hard deadline, to have this ready by our joint CBOC board meeting.
September 21st.
Correct. Excellent. Anything?
I don't know if that's 100% true. Let me just double check that that's the right date. Keep going. I'll report out when I get it.
21st, but
Maybe. I just want to double check.
and it's usually here, Ellen, or are we going somewhere else?
It's been a variety of places, and that has typically been developed in partnership with the board. So I think once we get to the point of doing agenda setting, the final location would be also determined.
Last one was at Lake, and 4 or 5 before that was
At the Dawn.
yeah. Last time it was here was pre-pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is shown on the district calendar for the 21st at this location. At 6:15 to 8:15, kind of close to your standard meetings. So that happens to also be back to school night that week. So it's a busy week. We got a board meeting on Wednesday. We got back to school nights on Thursday and Friday or Thursday.
Members that that's a hard week for them. So we can talk to our standing chairperson to see if we I don't like rescheduling, but
And with the board, it's more complicated, right? So, but definitely surveying the members would be important because it would be very sad to try to put together a joint meeting and then not because I believe we're required to have a quorum from both committees to be able to hold the meeting, and that would be disappointing to not make it. So confirmation from and a commitment from the committee would be, I'm sure, much appreciated by the board.
yeah, and Bill made a good point that we should have these standing meetings on our calendar already. So it's nice that it overlaps with one of our standing meetings. But we will talk to Andrew and see what direction we want to take based on the committee.
Just,
And oh, you were gonna add something else?
oh yeah, just to
Betsy?
add for all of us, I think standing meetings being on the calendar is one thing, but a joint
Yeah.
dual meeting is
That's
another, because I don't think that that's like emphasizing the thing. They kind of schedule it after we get started. I think that that's important, like just as a reminder, hey, this is our joint meeting with the
Yeah.
Board of Education.
Mhm.
Because I believe there was something with the last one as well, so.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is, give us a heads up of very important meetings, because this was supposed to be a standing meeting, not of high importance, but now it is.
Yeah, because even on my calendar, it's just CBOC monthly meeting.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. Any other items from our members here before I go to public comment? Got questions? Great,
As just about the only member of the public that actually shows up at these meetings. I'm gonna speak for all of us. That's a bad day. The damn League of Women Voters got a major candidate quorum at the exact same time. Since 2003, ask me how many meetings, CBOC meetings I've missed. One. When, what was that? March, when the League of Women Voters had another candidate quorum. I absolutely have to be there. It's part of my job. So I mean, if you want to reschedule this, you're not gonna have any problem with me. And also, since this is a joint meeting, most of the time, actually, it's not held on the same date as the CBOC meeting. It's held on a Wednesday, the same night as a board meeting. They think it's a board meeting where they allow the CBOC to sit there. Okay, it's not a joint meeting. It's what works best for you, what works best for you kind of thing. So
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we do want to sit on that Lavanya stage.
just, this is a far better location because you can hear. You
That's
can't
true.
hear anything at
Yeah.
we had one of the meetings where we had to have the speakers go sit right inside the U directly in front of the owl because we couldn't hear them even in the room. The audio was just so bad.
Yeah, Lavanya has, it's hard to hear people.
Didn't understand.
Yeah, so we can, again, we will bring this up with our standing chair, Andrew, and make sure that we reschedule or move forward in a way that feels good for both the board and us, CBOC. All right, and I'm glad we got your blessing, Don, to reschedule this. All right, moving on to item N, discussion on Kennedy High School fiscal impact on bond dollars. So we've heard a bit about just kind of what you're thinking about in terms of the upgraded vapor barrier and changes to the base rock. But talk to us dollars and cents as it relates to the CBOC bonds.
Mm-hmm. So one of the only piece that has come forward to the board was part of the it was brought forward on July 15th, and it was part of the special services contracts and for Nino Moore. Since then, Nino Moore has updated their name to Socotec, so you might have heard that as part of the community meetings about this. But that's the same company, just for clarity. And so I should have looked it up before I came here, but I didn't. I want to say that was about $20,000 to do the design. The design is not quite complete yet. We've had we've had many meetings between the designers, the contractors, and the architects to try to coordinate the construction and keep it moving. So some things are being implemented already without the final design or in conjunction with the final design, but because we don't have it all drawn out, it's hard to price. What I have said is that DTSC gave us a ballpark of $4 to $6 per square foot, but that's ground level square feet, so that's where the 60,000 came in, and why I knew that one off the top of my head. And so it doesn't count the sixth floor because you're only doing on the bottom floor. But that was an estimate given to us by that agency of what these kind of systems cost. We do not have a specific number yet for Kennedy itself because we need a design to be able to price it. But the design is nearing its completion, so we're hoping that will come forward here in short order, and I'll be able to report more out to this committee. There will also be enhanced inspections. So that will be another cost that will be part of the bond project as part of this process. So a couple different items that will hit the that'll hit the bond budget as we move forward.
Okay, so to be continued and as you get more information.
Yep.
Comments from our committee members?
It's incredibly, de minimis number on the contract, whatever this is going to cost. And there's always, everybody bids with contingencies, so I presume we have contingencies, contractor has contingencies that cover costs you can't see. So.
Right. I mean, we do have a district level contingency that's outside of the project, the construction dollar budget. That will have to come out of here because the contingency that we have within the contract was not designed for this kind of event. But you're absolutely right. In the grand scheme of the project, it's not a percentage-wise a huge impact. We have to be careful though, because every dollar is a dollar, right? And we do have to work through what this will look like as it comes in totality. But it isn't, multi-millions dollars worth of work. So we're anticipating being able to absorb most of it within the current Kennedy project budget. But since we don't, again, the whole bidding cycle for a multi-phase project is really stress-inducing because you are bidding on multiple times throughout the process, and you have no idea what the market values will be when you get to that point. And so until we get our bids in for phase 2 and phase 3, that will really be where that, we'll have the hard numbers. Right now, as I said, with Steege, we have a lot of smart people who do this for a living and are doing our estimates, and we're tracking the project. But you just never know. You don't know if the gas prices or material prices or construction labor capabilities will be either advantageous or disadvantage to the district at the time of bid. And so it's a little nerve-wracking when you do a multi-phase, 5 to 7 year project because you're always kind of like, well, I really hope everybody's right, but are supposed to tell us these things. For the most part, though, they have been. So, we've bid a couple phases now. Richmond came in under budget. Kennedy was right around where the estimates were. So the track record's good that we are ready and prepared to build these projects throughout all of the phases. But if something wild like COVID happens again next year for some like bizarre reason, there's nothing we can do to control those kind of things.
Great, thank you for that. And I think so. I got comments from us.
I signed up on this one, yes. I tried to ask this question at the first town hall meeting, but I was shut down before I thought of this. To ask the question. Typically on our construction contracts, if they build in an X number of days to build, okay, and if for whatever reason they're not able to, whether it's on the contractor taking too long or the district not providing them with a viable workspace, then they hit us. Everybody hits everybody up. You owe me this much money because I wasn't able to do this. But now when we shut down the construction project like we did for a week and a half, I don't know how many days it was actually shut down. Contractors are still paying for the trailers. They're still paying for the equipment. Okay, and so they're going to hit us up on this. Do we know ballpark how much this is going to impact us?
So I did answer that at the last board meeting. So general conditions is what he's referring to is the contractor has overhead, right? And like I said, they have trailers and toilets and equipment on site, but they also have staff. That's the administrative staff of the construction project. And that is a real cost. We have not, but it's also a cost that the contractor has to submit paperwork to show the impact to the project. We have not seen that paperwork yet. So it is hard to know the exact time impacts to this particular project. The VIM system itself, because we're kind of we're literally designing the airplane as we're flying it on the VIM system. We've been trying to work in as much as we can the activities that were already in place to not have this design process affect to the overall timing, but it still is having an impact as well. So, and that's not done yet. So because we are making structural changes to the under foundation by putting the system in, it has to go to DSA before we're allowed to implement it into the construction project. That's a process we don't have control over. DSA is normally very responsive when you're in construction, which is great, and we appreciate that. Thank you, DSA. But we don't have control over that part of the process either. So when the change order comes through for the system in the construction piece, it will most likely include some level of general conditions. And at that point in time, we'll understand more fully the schedule impact. But because we don't know exactly when we will get approval of the design, it's hard for us to anticipate that at this time.
And then at that first town hall meeting, Superintendent Cotton says, hoping that we can reopen the school within 60 days. That's a substantial amount of time. Right now, we're reopening week and a half after shutdown. That's still substantial on a daily basis. If you're going to write the check, but it's still not bad in comparison to 60 days. That's a long time to shut down.
Well, and again, the differences between the outdoor and indoor air, and the scientists talked about that. And so the construction on the outside air piece was not as impactful. And so that is why the construction started sooner than the school did. And that was great. because it lessened the impact to the construction project itself. And we are super stoked at how from the beginning, the words were that, we're doing further investigation. It was unknown. Just because you have vapor in the soil, it doesn't mean that you necessarily had it in your buildings, but we just didn't know. And so then we did the appropriate testing. And the 60 days was if we did have vapor intrusion, what it would take us to be able to put some short-term mitigation measures in place so that we could return. Luckily, because the evidence showed that there was not vapor intrusion, we could open up a lot faster. And so that was kind of the difference between the week and a half and the 60 days. So we were super stoked that it came back as, the evidence wasn't there that was coming into the buildings, which is the best news that we could really hope for. And we are, we're so happy that that Kennedy is going to be able to open on their site. That is absolutely spectacular news. And, it was dicey there for a while. And there were lots of contingency plans being developed. And so I think it'll be really, really great for the Kennedy community, and I'm very happy for them.
Definitely. That is something good to hear. And thanks for the update. So we will hopefully hear more updates on that in the coming CBOC meetings. And then moving us along to our final, or just wanted to make the announcement, our next scheduled meeting is September 21st. Regular CBOC meeting, 6:15 p.m. here. Andrew/I will keep you all abreast of the joint CBOC / board meeting. And item P, that brings me to our final item here. We will adjourn this meeting at 8:17 p.m. And thank you all for being here, and thanks members of the public for tuning in.
Congratulations, Dawson. Very well done.
Oh, thank you. Started off on a little rocky foot there, but
First time.
did it.